Mike McClure, you dominated like Denver did last night. What's your biggest takeaway from the Nuggets Game 1 win?
Altitude matters, rest matters. That's exactly what we saw in the first game. But really what we're looking at here is you don't see this in the NBA. No other team has the ability to run their offense through a center like Nikola Jokic. It is incredibly difficult to adjust for it. It makes a big emphasis on away from the ball defense. We saw it a ton here. It's why Miami was so tired in the altitude coming off of that long 7-game series. I think they have a little more time to adjust here. But overall, you look at some of the shooting performances, most notably from Michael Porter Jr. The guy drastically underperformed. The Nuggets still left a lot on the table in that game, in my opinion, here. So I think it's a very interesting matchup going forward. But I think the Miami Heat are at a big disadvantage playing on the road.
Denver improves to 9-0 at home in the postseason, and Game 1 goes under the total of 218.5, cashes easily. Game 2, it sits at 215. Is this enough of an adjustment? Are you playing the under again in Game 2?
Yeah, I'll go under again here in Game 2. I think it's much closer here, though. I have the number at 213. I do think that we've seen enough attention made about Miami only getting to the line for 2 attempts here. A lot of that was their style of play, but I do certainly think that some of that evens out just a little bit here because of how much attention this is getting overall. I think the line is a lot more efficient in this spot, but yes, still going to lean under across the board. These teams were bottom third teams in the NBA in terms of pace of play. Very similar defensive rating. We keep thinking that Miami's such a great defensive team. When you look at Denver, they rate nearly identically defensively here. Just a lot of adjustments need to be made on the Miami side. I think that happens in Game 3 back in Miami.
Another big topic is Jimmy Butler. His points prop closed at 27.5. He finished with 13 points in Game 1, his playoff low this postseason. His prop for Game 2 is 25.5, juice to the under. Mike, is this something you make an adjustment? Is it appropriate? Would you go under again on this prop?
I'm still under on it. Again, it's much like the total for the game. It's a lot closer at this point. I have Jimmy Butler projected for 24 points in Game 2. When you look, though, Aaron Gordon as the primary defender on Jimmy Butler has been fantastic, and it's not just right now. When you look at what they've done in their careers against one another, Jimmy Butler scoring almost 6.5 points per 100 possessions less when Aaron Gordon is the primary defender versus any other defender Jimmy Butler has ever faced in his career. We saw Aaron Gordon be effective as you can be against LeBron James and Kevin Durant already in these playoffs. And when we look at what Denver did defensively, I think it took Miami a while to figure out that, hey, Bam Adebayo's getting every single shot attempt. That was by design on the Denver side. I think we see a lot more of that. So yes, under on Jimmy Butler again until they set this line at 23.5.
Spread for Game 2 similar to Game 1, 8.5. You and I both laid the 9 and ended up being a little closer than we would have liked. It was an 11-point win. Do you think the line is just right for Game 2? And what's the bet we should make right now ahead of Sunday's Game 2?
Yeah, I do think it's right now. I think that anytime you get closer to double digits in a finals game, you're going to see some buying there, especially with the track record Miami has, the coaching staff that they have. They do make some adjustments. I think the most interesting thing here, though, that game was never really in doubt. I found it very interesting the way Spoelstra made some of those later fourth quarter adjustments, maybe tipping his hand a little bit with what they're doing with Haywood Highsmith, who certainly played more. Max Strus didn't play at all in that fourth quarter here. So while I get that you never want to give up and have that mentality, I think it was a little questionable to kind of show that in a game that you essentially had less than a 1% chance of winning at that point. So I'm still on the Nuggets here. Make the number up to 10.5. The market's certainly not going to get it there. But I think Jokic, he didn't have to score. Michael Porter Jr. drastically underperformed in terms of shooting efficiency. I think the Nuggets run away with this one again.
Yeah, I think their offense was great in the first half, Denver's, and then it kind of got lazy in the fourth quarter, which allowed Miami to get back into it. I still, as you mentioned, Haywood Highsmith, I still don't think, try to put him on Jokic. I don't think it's going to be the answer. They still going to have to guard all 5 on Jokic because, look, he didn't even attempt that many shots and he had a triple-double. He gets to the free throw line, he dishes out assists. He's a machine, and Denver dominates in Game 1, looking to take a 2-0 series lead at home when Game 2 tips off on Sunday night. Mike McClure here on Sportsline set it up for us.